Hey, I'm ElusiveKev, Mr. Khan. Welcome back to MotoGP 17 and the rider careers. Patrick McDonald is flying on the Red Bull KTM factory effort. Can it continue round the Sachsenring in Germany? So here goes Patrick McDonald for his two efforts in the wet of Germany. Even though as you can see, it's very cloudy overhead. The skies are not pouring down. It's still a wet track. So let's see what you can do on his two qualifying efforts on this KTM. As you saw what it was like on the Aprilia in the wet round. The Bugatti Le Mans circuit in France. Might see similar results here in the Sachsenring, despite being on a very difficult machine, a very different machine as well. You've got to let this bike slide sometimes. Get the best out of it. Madonna definitely likes that though, as he's shown in Spain. Even more impressively in Assen last time out. As you can see, he's seeking out the wet patches as well, going slightly offline. As you go through the left hand in this middle sector of this very unusual Sachsenring circuit. Turning left all the time. That was a bit wrong though, that line. Let's go through the waterfall, very aptly named in these conditions. Go down the back straight. It's starting to rain again. Oh, McDonald might have found the best of the conditions again early in the session. Before it starts pouring down again. Well, his rivals have been asleep in the garage. Let's go through the final corner. Sure as get the power down. And that might be good enough to go through 21-1. And it is by half a second ahead of the home hero Folger, who also makes it through on his Tech 3 ahead of the Aprilia of Spargo and Miller as well, who's normally good in these conditions. And Scott Redding on the Premac, as we got Baptista down in 6th and Loris Baz in 7th, who's again another very good rider. And these conditions perhaps showed out a bit better in the race, as the old teammate Spargo and Spitfire right at the back, sandwiching Sam Lowe. So let's see what the Kenyan can do in qualifying 2. As here is Patrick McDonald for his one effort in qualifying 2. It could actually be two efforts as well, because he only did one lap in qualifying 1. Let's see if we can nail this lap and maybe grab another pole in wet, interchangeable conditions, just like in France earlier in the season. As he didn't really hook that lap up, yeah, he was kind of tidy, but he was a bit slow as well. So let's see if he can dip into the 20s. Even in these conditions, very short that time on the MotoGP bikes, very short that as well. So in the race, tyre wear might be an issue the last couple of laps. You know, a bit like with Austin in Argentina and Qatar. This is much tidier from McDonald so far. A bit wide into the fast left though. Managed to get on the power early enough. Might have saved that corner. As now you go into the left under the bridge. And in this little jump that the bikes have as all. That was very slow though through that sector. In onto the back straight, able to keep in the power a bit more than he was in qualifying 1. And it is very bumpy penultimate corner. Got to be careful when getting on the power. And then into the final corner, you can brake so much deeper than you think. But again, easy to look up the front. And look at this, into the 19s. And as you saw, it start to rain again in qualifying 2. And what a lap for McDonald. Stepped it up when he needed to. And he grabs pole by over a second ahead of Rossi, with Marquez in 3rd. Then Maverick leads the 4th ahead of Dovi and Crutchlow. Then leading the 3rd was Pedrosa, normally so good round here, with Lorenzo in 8th and Iannone in 9th. And on the 4th row is Zarco Petrucci's normally good in wet conditions, and Jonas Volger. So can Patrick McDonald make it 2 wins in a row on the KTM. As the track is dried up on race day, it says Orange Crush at the top, with another pole this season. And looking further down, you've got Zarco to watch out for this race. Folger as well in his home race in 12th. And right at the back is his teammates on the 8th row. As Patrick McDonald revs up the engine, waiting for the lights up here. And go out for this 8th lap race. With these dry conditions, maybe cloudy overhead, but as you can see, the track is definitely dried up on race day. As old Dano Petrucci already down on his Premac in that very tricky first corner from 10th. Oh, he's going to be racing the whole the rest of the race just to make it back into the points. John holds on at the start from Rossi. To go through this first sector. Very slow. And now it opens up. As we go through the fast left-handers in third gear. Still sticking ahead of Rossi. Maybe it was Maverick or Marquez. He might have tried to make a move, but Rossi a bit rise, a bit less aggressive. At times. We've already seen this season, especially in Catalonia, that Rossi can still be very aggressive. He's gone to the back straight. Fourth gear. Very bumpy this tracking section. Oh, Marquez, the master. Well, the Sachsenring is down from third. Crutcher becomes the top Honda now on the LCR. As Rossi half a second behind McDonald. He's definitely sticking to the KTM's tail as Maverick. Up to third ahead of Crutcher. No Hondas on the podium. As Pedrosa down. Oh, what has happened to the Works Hondas? As McDonald leads across the line going into the first corner. In the second lap, Vinales up ahead of Rossi. In the battle of the Yamahas as Rossi takes it immediately back. This is very good for Patrick McDonald though. He can just race away with Cal Crutchlow for Honda Pride. On a works bike as well, remember? On the LCR in third. But not for long, Vinales takes that position back. What a battle's happening behind. Patrick McDonald, he's just got a clear road in front. No distractions. Can just concentrate on building this lead on his medium front tyres and hard rear. Let's see if these tyres are good near the end of the race. It's very cloudy overhead. Never know what's going to happen. As he got over a second lead ahead of Rossi. Seems to be holding on to second place. Despite Maverick and Crutchlow nipping at his heels. He's going to his penultimate corner, taking a wide line, taking a late apex. Seems to be a bit better into that corner. If you can get that bike turned in though. Can be tricky sometimes. You leave your turn in a bit too late, the bumps can catch you. Out has, look at that, 19.4 from McDonald. As good as his qualifying that, but look at Rossi, 19.3. Tad faster than Marquez in 23rd, 18.9. Oh, he's going to be pushing like a hell just to get some points. As it's him and Pedrosa at the back in 23rd and 24th for the Hondas. Who would have predicted that before the race? But for Patrick McDonald, it's been smooth sailing so far. But if this hard rear tyres should not have tyre wear being an issue. Oh, might if he does that, whipping out the back end into the fast left-hander. Getting slightly offline as well. Allows Rossi to still be half a second back on his Yamaha. The gap seems to be consistent between the pair. But Rossi and Vinales and Crutch are just not close enough to make a move on McDonald so far. But now his tyre's going to start being up to temperature, start being into that good spot for him. Especially at hard, medium compounds. That hard on the rear, it should start to do. Get into its operating range. Medium definitely is. As he dips into the 20s. Now it's Rossi to be 6 tenths behind as he goes into this fourth lap. And all with a bit of ender in action going into the first corner. Being a bit cautious into that first corner braking, but it's so easy to lock up, go wide with how downhill that braking zone is. So braking early is definitely a good decision rather than trying to brake late. Oh, and here comes Rossi, and here comes Maverick. Decided to play, and oh, Rossi. Oh, he's hitting McDonald wide twice. That allows Vinales to take the lead in the other Yamaha. The darker Yamaha as well, look at that. Much darker than the brighter Rossi. As there we go, 3 wide. As Crutchlow almost 2 seconds back in his Honda. It's definitely a three-way battle then at the front between the Yamahas and the KTM. And remember, this is very important for the championship as well. How close it is. As McDonald takes a look into the fast left-hander. It goes wide. As Dovi up to 5th ahead of Eno, and he battled the former Ducati teammates. Dovi up to 4th ahead of Crutchlow. McDonald dropping back from the Yamahas. He's trying to push now, but it's KTM fighting back to go into the second of the race. Almost a second behind the Yamaha pair already. In just half of that. Vinales takes back the lead from Rossi. Now McDonald's got to start pushing like a hell. Now that as his tyres are up to temperature in the operation range. Brakes definitely in the operation range. Now he needs to start pushing like a hell. But when he pushes like a hell, this KTM bites back, as you saw in Assen. Drifting the bike through the corners. Making sure he's going out quick enough to get that time. He got almost a second behind Rossi. Got a second half gap behind to Dovi. Seems like Crutcho's dropping back as this race goes on. Not a good race for Honda at all. At a track you normally expect them to be strong, especially in Marquez's hands. But Crutcho has a decent record round here, especially in the interchangeable conditions. As Rossi takes the lead from Vinales. So with the Yamaha pair battling. Here comes McDonald on the KTM. Even as he's struggling to get the power down. 19.4. Actually his fastest that. 1.6 second gap behind to Dovi. 3/4 of a second behind Vinales. He takes back the lead from Rossi. In the first corner in his first set, so McDonald definitely catching. As they're battling like a hell. In front. That's a good thing for McDonald, this Yamaha pair. Definitely don't get along. He's not as bad as Rossi and Lorenzo, but it's getting there. The old man wants to get that precious 10th world title. And he's seeing that getting out of reach with these young aliens such as Vinales and Marquez. Rising up the order, and oh, McDonald going very sideways. He's definitely pushing now. As he goes to the back straight and chops in front of Vinales and takes the lead. Oh, the KTM showing some bite on its opponents, not just on McDonald. As Rossi takes second from Vinales, probably had to back off. McDonald being very aggressive. Oh, now Rossi pushes McDonald wide. So across the line onto the penultimate lap. Just holds off Vinales for the time being. Oh, but brakes wide, brakes too deep in that first corner. Has to do the cut back on Vinales. Once again, chops in front for the Spaniard. He's not making any friends with Vinales this race. He takes the wide line through that very long right-hander. Got a very good exit all over Rossi. Into the left-hander. Can he go down the inside of the Italian? Not quite. Losing the rear through the long left-hander. Fast left-hander. That nice smooth exit. Looking down the inside into the fast left-hander. Around 100 miles per hour. Not what you want to be doing, McDonald. Oh, he's got a good run. Over the crest. Into the waterfall. Takes the lead back. As Lorenzo down from 7th on his Ducati. The former Yamaha rider. Former teammate of Rossi. Before getting replaced by Vinales and choosing Ducati as well. Taking their money. Try and make them winners again. As we go on to the final out of the race. Who is going to win it out of these three? Is it McDonald? Rossi, Vinales. There's McDonald that breaks himself majorly into the first corner. But rejoins in the lead. As tyre only halfway on both tyres. So he won't be focusing on that. Don't have any issues with it. So they got 4 tenths ahead of Rossi. They're in the first sector. And Rossi almost into the back of McDonald. As now we go out the slow section into the fast stuff for the second half of this lap. Keep it nice and smooth. Through the left-hander. Then into the fast left-hander in the middle part of the lap. He's 6 tenths ahead of Rossi. He's building the gap on his final lap. McDonald pushes like a hell with these hard tyres Really coming alive. Maybe he's not struggling with tyre as much as Rossi and Vinales have been battling like hell since that opening lap. And almost a second behind as McDonald goes for the penultimate corner. Tries to get smooth on the power, short shifting up into the final corner, a bit cautious. But he hits the apex, gets smoothly on the power and wins again on the KTM. What a victory, what a battle with Rossi and Vinales. But the KTM beats the Yamaha on this occasion by less than a second, with Ian only in fourth on the Suzuki. What a ride from the Italian, beating Crutchlow to the line by a tenth of a second, with Redding in sixth on the Pramac. What a ride by the Brits, ahead of Espargaro in seventh on the Aprilia, then the Tech 3 of Zarco in eighth. Marquez recovers to ninth from last, or virtually last, just ahead of Jack Miller by 11 thousandths of a second, with Baz in 11th on the Avinci. I said watch out for him in the wet conditions, he's breathing the dries. There's Petrucci recovered to 12th on his Pramac after his first lap full. Folger in 13th on home turf. Dovi down to 14th, only a tenth ahead of Baptista. Grabs the final point by a couple of tenths ahead of Barbera. Pedrosa just up to 17th in the end. Lorenzo in 20th and Abraham in last. So in the championship, Rossi leads by a single point ahead of Vinales, with McDonald up to third at the halfway mark of the season, just 6 points off the lead despite riding for Aprilia and KTM. And he has jumped ahead of Marquez by 4 points. He's still just 10 points off the lead despite that disastrous race. So the top four separated by just 10 points, with Dovi now falling a bit back in fifth, 36 points behind his fellow countryman, ran out the top five and 18 points ahead of Pedrosa. He's over 2 race wins behind now and just 7 points ahead of Crutchlow, with Zarco in eighth. Ian only up to ninth after his superb result in the Suzuki, ahead of Lorenzo by 11 points, and Espargaro up to 11 ahead of Petrucci by a single point. As in the constructors' standings, it's a 29-point gap between Yamaha and Honda, with Ducati in third, 25 points behind Honda and 25 ahead of Aprilia, who are 33 points ahead of Suzuki, who are just 4 points ahead of KTM. And then the team's rankings at 63-point lead for Yamaha over Honda, who are 59 points ahead of Ducati, who are just 26 points ahead of KTM. Then a 35-point gap to Pramac, who rounds out the top 5, 6 points ahead of Tech 3. You've got LCR, Suzuki, then Aprilia, then Avintia, Aspar, a single point ahead of Mark VDS. As yes, what a victory for McDonald again on the KTM. He's definitely at home with this bike, despite it being a very difficult slidey bike. And let's see if we can make it 3 in a row as we head into the second half of the season in the Czech Republic around the Automotodrome Brno. As here goes Patrick McDonald for his 2 qualifying efforts in qualifying 1. Let's see if he can repeat what he did in the Saxon ring, taking pole. And most importantly, what he did in the race as well. If he wins, it is virtually tied at the top, depending on who finishes second. He could even grab the championship lead of this race in Brno. That's a very deep line into turn 1. But if you're going to power early enough, smoothly enough, it's actually a pretty good line as well. They don't want to be doing that in the race. It just invites people to just dive down your inside. So we all had in the Saxon ring against those Yamahas. And going sideways into the right-hander. Somehow keeps it upright though. Again, on this KTM, that's what you need to do sometimes. Just be very sideways, and he goes very deep into the right-hander. This is not the tidiest lap. Not he's going to be his best lap, probably. As you saw on the Saxon, he's struggling like a hell at times with the bike, but produced it on the final lap. He was very clutch in Germany. Just had one lap in qualifying 1 and 2, but produced. And on to the final lap of that race. He was battling like hell with Rossi and Vinales, but once he got into it, he just pulled the gap on the pair as they battled for second. McDonald came through. And so heading into the second half of this season, it's a 4-way title fight. And it's incredible how close they are. The Honda of Marquez and the KTM of McDonald. And then the 2 Yamahas, Rossi and Vinales, were just a single point incredible how evenly matched they are. The veteran, perhaps the GOAT, in Valentino Rossi. The Doctor with 9 titles. Bernardes with just 1 in Moto3. But along with Marquez, with Rins, and oh, McDonald taken out. Very much a new breed, those Spaniards. As the home hero, it was Cal Abraham. It's actually his father owns the circuit. So very much his home race. Took out McDonald, and he only ended up 11th in that qualifying session, ahead of Espargaro and Smith and Sam Knowles. But McDonald's first lap was good enough, despite it being a bit scruffy, a second faster than Espargaro, so makes it through by just a 10th ahead of Folger, Redding, Midder, Baz, Batista, Range, Rabat, Barbera. So let's see what McDonald can do in qualifying 2. So there we go for 2 possible laps in qualifying 2. But once again, McDonald just needed 1 lap to go through in qualifying 1. Let's see if we can hook this lap up though. Be closer to the 150 mark, and then he'd definitely be within a shout of pole. Let's go into the first corner again, taking this deep line. Perhaps too deep. So he really went to the edge of the tracks. Nice and smooth on the exit. Go down this back straight. Cut the beam for the first sector as well. We just left and right handing. He hooked up that sector much better than he did in his first effort. Beck not coming out as much as well into the right hander. That should ease the bike towards that apex. Got to watch out for that rear end into that corner in the race. Tyre wet would have to be an issue. As that's better through the left, or through the right should I say. Now we're into a left hander, so I can tell my left and right apart. The crowd on the mount have a superb view, and oh, Enduin into the left hander though for McDonald. That's Rowan this lap. He will need a second effort. Short shift up, get a smooth exit onto this straight. We're heading into the right-hander downhill. Very easy to lose the rear once again. There's a bit of a bump as well. But that's with tyre wear. Thankfully, with these soft tyres in qualifying, it won't be too much of an issue. It's all taking his own line again. Somehow didn't fall off the bike. Let's go into the final sector. This is not going to be a good lap. This is going to be mid 150s. Probably. He goes through the final couple of corners. And loses the rear in the final corner. It's going to be another 53.8. That's a shocking lap. Needs to be a few seconds faster than that on this effort, but he's down. So tries McDonald falls at the first corner on his second lap. And that means he ends up just in trouble alongside Espargaro and Petrucci on the 4th row. Then we got Zarco, Lorenzo and Iannone on the 3rd row. Then Pedrosa, Dovi and Coccio on the 2nd. But grabbing pole is Vinales by 61 thousandths of a second ahead of Rossi and just under a 10th faster than Marquez. So what can Patrick McDonald do from the 4th row? Can he grab another victory or podium? As we look at the grid with the Yamaha 1-2. Marquez in 3rd. All the title contenders up there apart from Orange Crush down in 12th. As we look into the second half of the field, we've got Folger leading the 5th row. Baz leading the 6th. And on the 7th row, you've got the home here with Abraham in 21st. As Patrick McDonald revs up the engine, waiting for the lights up here. And go out for this 6-lap race. Smooth enough start. Hasn't jumped too many positions, not even to the top 10. Looks like Petrucci got a good, decent start. There's Premier, but look at McDonald down the inside. As Crutcho dropped back. Behind Pedrosa, and it's like McDonald got a superb toe from Dovi as we head towards the end of this first sector into the left-hander. We're trying to outbrake the top 4, but just drifts wide as just like Paul Espargaro's teammates down in 23rd on his KTM. As he got Marquez up to 2nd ahead of Rossi. But Patrick McDonald ran out of the top 5 ahead of Lorenzo and Pedrosa, the old rivals, the Spaniards. And he dives it down the inside of Dovi. Not quite working on a Ducati. Italian's seen that move plenty of times in his career. Knows when to back off, especially on the first lap. The 6th lap race, there's Lorenzo pushes McDonald wide. Oh, now does Pedrosa, Crutchlow. They're all lining up now on McDonald. As here comes Zarco diving down the inside. No, gets him back, but gets on the grass. Drops back down to 9th. He's got Petrucci on his tail now. As Crutchlow and Pedrosa do battle for 6th. We've got Redding and Petrucci, the Premax battling behind us. McDonald eases by Zarco, very timid from the French. We don't often see that. Oh, McDonald into the back of Pedrosa. He's down. Danny. 2nd race in a row he's fallen. And this time not his fault at all. McDonald just overzealous on the brakes. As he gets past Crutchlow as well, back into 6th. These straights hurting the KTM's lack of power. Straight line speed. As you've got Marquez taking the lead as you go into the 2nd lap ahead of Vinales. McDonald with medium front and rear as well. He's got to start pushing a bit earlier in this race. Can afford to sit back like the Saxon ring. As tyre might be an issue on this last lap. With this long track. And high number of laps as well. As you've got Zarco ahead of Crutchlow. And good move from McDonald in the first corner. Past Dovi. Or was that Lorenzo, should I say? We've got Dovi in front. We've got Marquez and Vinales. Top 3. Battling like a hell. Yamaha and Honda. That's McDonald in a Ducati sandwich. Lorenzo looking pretty competitive for once. And as well in 6th. Not that far off his teammate as Zarco and Crutchlow are doing battle. For 7th. Very aggressive riders. Should be interesting how that turns out. Oh, McDonald revving up. Bike not liking it. But he's just about sticking to the tail of Dovizioso. So avoids the grass as well. Onto this back straight. He's head towards the right-hander. Got to watch out for the Ducati grunt from behind from Lorenzo. And looks like he's held off the Spaniard. The multiple MotoGP and 250 champion. Vinales are back ahead of Marquez as Rossi leads. And now here goes McDonald trying to line up Dovi. Down this little straight towards the penultimate corner. We won't have the grunt on the Ducati. He's got over a 2nd lead behind on Lorenzo. But he dives down the inside into the left-hander. Door wide open from Dovi. Lots of room at the inn. As Zarco up to 6th ahead of Lorenzo. Great race from the Tech 3 so far. So it does the fastest lap 52.3. As we go on to the 3rd lap, Rossi takes back the lead from Vinales. So he's about to hunt down the top 3. He's got the top 4 in the championship, top 4 in the race. But look at that gap, almost 2 seconds to make up as they go 3 wide into the left hand in front. They somehow all survive. With Vinales lead ahead of Marquez and Rossi. Which I say Rossi's taken back 2nd from the Honda. As we've got Crutchlow up to 6th ahead of Lorenzo. Where's Zarco gone? Takes 6th and disappears in the blink of an eye. Back down to 8th. It's all McDonald pushing like a hell in this tight middle sector. But you've got to be so smooth with the bike. Smooth with the power. Just got a short shift everywhere on this KTM. And oh, here comes Dovi. Say hello again. Goes into the right hand and nice and smooth on the power. Tyre wear not an issue at all. Look at that in the bottom right. Goes into the right hand and down the hill. Just about holds on. Losing the rear as well as Rossi takes back the lead from Vinales. There goes McDonald up the hill into the left-hander. Very aggressive on the brakes. Nice and smooth on the power, heading on to the mini straight towards the penultimate corner. He's gained a couple of tenths on the top 3. He's going to that penultimate corner. Just about getting the bike towards the apex. Now through the final corner. Very aggressive on the power. He's into the dirt. As he goes on to the 4th lap, 2nd half of the race. And he's 1.3 behind Marquez. As Vinales and Rossi do battle for the lead. So that's good gain from McDonald on that lap. Around half a second. He continues that, he'd be right up there in the final lap, which is surely his aim. Definitely want to make it 3 in a row on the KTM. We're used to seeing this in the lower categories from KTM, especially in the 125s and Moto 3. Not so much in MotoGP, which is their newest adventure. And in Moto 2 as well. Relatively new to that category. It's all a bit wide on that rear tyre. But still, they're becoming slightly bigger in McDonald's eye line, the top three. And he's got a gap over a second to the Vizioso behind. He's top 4. I definitely need a class of 4 in this race and in the championship. He's all taking a very tight line into that right hand as Rossi takes back the lead from Vinales. Those Emma's really going like a hell once again as Jack Miller down from the final points paying position in 15th. I was looking at McDonald. 0.7 of a second behind Marquez. Oh, but slightly onto the curb into the penultimate corner. So got Rossi and Vinales still battling into the final couple of corners. As he goes into the penultimate lap of the race. Another 52 for McDonald, so consistent. Well, they're dipping into the 53s in front. And look at McDonald into the first corner right on the tail of Marquez. Trying to get a good exit, get some slipstream off the Honda. As we head into the end of this first sector, into that left-hander. Not close enough to outbrake Marquez, but right on the tail now. The multiple champion. Just all losing that tail end into the right-hander. It's definitely the first and last sector that McDonald is quickest. So if we can just hang on in this middle sector, that would be very good. Marquez losing those Yamahas in the lead though. So we don't need to clear Marquez quickly. He's going to be battling for the win. His tyres around halfway worn. As he's got a lap and a half to go. He's definitely sticking with Marquez. Nice and smooth onto the back straight. Kicking up some dirt on the exit. Go downhill into the right-hander. Oh, back in, getting out again under the brakes over that bump. But he's smooth enough, is McDonald. And into the left-hander, but Marquez leaves the door so wide open you could fit 2 double-decker buses through it. And so McDonald into the podium places. A second off the battling Yamahas in the lead. As he got too big a gap to make up, though, heading on to the final lap. He starts to bite beautifully into that penultimate corner. Not as well into the final corner. The shifts up to third, has a smooth enough exit. As he gone to the final lap here in Brno. 52.4 from McDonald. That might be the fastest lap. Just when he needs to produce, he's doing it. Oh, as Vinales takes the lead from Rossi. Rossi trying to take it back. It's not the fastest lap, but he's right up there. That time rise. And look at this. He's getting some slipstream maybe off the couple of Yamahas. Into this left-hander. Right on their tail on this final lap. We've got a three-way fight again between the Yamahas and the KTM for the victory. Boy, it ain't like the Saxy Ring, no. As Marquez, look at that, dropped off over a second behind McDonald. He's trying to knock down the inside of Vinales, forces the Spaniard wide. And now down the inside of Rossi, bumps him. Very aggressive on this final lap as he takes the lead. With half of that to go, Rossi bumps back. Of course he does. He is all out worn this final lap. Elbows out. As he goes into the right-handed chops in front of Vinales. Again, he's used to that from Germany. He's going down this back straight. He's getting some slipstream off Rossi. It should help the KTM's lack of power as he breaks into the right-hander. Rossi holds on though. Maybe on the exit though. McDonald can take it. He eases past the doctor. So just over a sector to go. McDonald takes the lead. Is it going to the right-hander? This could be another beautifully judged victory. The tires are further away. He's got a 7/10 of a second lead over Rossi. Just now you're braking for the penultimate corner, kid. He runs slightly wide on the exit. Down to the final corner. Short shifts up to third. Gets the power down. And wins again for KTM. And does a 50 on the final lap. What a final lap again from McDonald to grab victory by 1.2 seconds ahead of Rossi. Does the fastest lap on the final lap. He is clutch, this kid. With Vinales in third, just a tenth behind his teammate. Then we've got Marquez in fourth, who dropped back 2.7 seconds behind the victor. In the end, with Dovi ran out the top 5 ahead of Crutcho, Sarko, Lorenzo, Espargaro in 9th, Petrucci rounds out the top 10 of his teammate Scott Redding. We've got Iannone in 12th, a bit disappointing after that last race. Pedrosa recovers to 13th of that clash with McDonald early in the race. Batista in 14th, and Alex Rins is at his first point of the season, ahead of Loris Baz by a couple of tenths, with the home hero Abraham in 19th. Decent race actually on the Ducati, with Paul Espargaro in last. So Rossi leads the championship by a single point still, but this time it's Patrick McDonald in second, who's climbed ahead of Maverick Vinales by 4 points, with Marquez dropping back in for 17 points behind the Italian now, with Dovi in 5th, and then Pedrosa and Quattro 11 points now in 6th and 7th. As looking further down the field, it was Alex Rins' first point of the season on his Suzuki, up into 19th ahead of Tito Rabat's 20 riders scored so far this season. Just Sam Knowles, Bradley Smith, Paul Espargaro and Cal Abraham, the home hero, yet to score points, with Yamaha leading Honda by 36 points in the constructors standings. And you've got Ducati in third, very solid ahead with Aprilia by 29 points. And now KTM up to 5th, ahead of Suzuki by 17 points and 19 points behind the Italian constructor. And then in the team's rankings, we've got Yamaha leading by 83 points over Honda. Incredible lead. They've certainly won the team's rankings in its like already. With Ducati in third, just 20 points ahead of KTM, who have got a 49 point gap behind to Pramac. In Tech 3 in 6th, LCR 7th, Suzuki 8th, Cassini in 9th, Vintia 10th, Aspar in 11th. Got a 3 point lead now over Mark VDS. He's definitely getting used to this, feeling inside the KTM clones. They were partying long into the night in the Czech Republic as the Yamaha guys once again exchange notes on a fantastic battle between the pair. But Patrick McDonald definitely inserted himself in between them in the last couple of races and in the championship as well. Can he maybe grab the championship lead? This would be a dream in Red Bull KTM's home race around the Red Bull Ring in Austria next time out. Or maybe he can do it around the Silverstone circuit in Great Britain before he has to make another decision about who he has to ride for in the final third of the season. Let me know who it should be down below, and I hope you enjoyed another episode of Patrick McDonald being fantastic, being clutch as well on both races. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.